Hi, David Odell here, with Odell Complete Concrete. This is part 4 of a 5-part series. This is my son's job, because this is actually his job, my older son, Timothy. Today what we're going to be doing is getting the base ready to lay some pavers. The type of pavers we're going to be using is a 3-piece system, and it's set on a herringbone pattern. It's going to have a soldier course around the perimeter. First thing we have to do is establish the elevation that we want the pavers out at with slope in the right directions. And then we can start grading this dirt out. And then we're going to add 5 inches of road base, compact that, and then another inch of sand on top of that. And then we can go ahead and start laying pavers. Also, we're going to lay a weed fabric down on the bottom to start with. That's really kind of optional, because once you smother it out with your pavers, nothing's really going to come up through that. Usually when something starts growing, it's actually growing from the top. So what happens is seeds and dirt get in between the pavers, and it actually roots from the top, and then it travels underneath the pavers between the bottom of pavers and the base. So it doesn't even start in the dirt. Here's all the road base. The homeowner even got involved here. He was actually wheeling the base into the backyard. Here's the weed fabric going in. We're going to use some 3/4 inch PVC initially to grade our sand off of. Inevitably, we bring another guy that has a few tricks knows a few different tricks to the trade, and he brings some designed steel pipes that you can screed off, so it just makes it a little bit less resistance pulling off of steel rather than plastic. Kind of like a train. There's not much resistance. And that's why they don't stop well, I suppose. That weed fabric has about a 6-inch overlap on it. A little box out around that bush. Try to save that.
Alright guys, we are here on site the next day, still bringing in the base. Next will be the sand, and we will be using a 3/4 inch pipe to screen all of our sand to the perfect level where we need it at. We're almost done, as you can see. Here it is. Base is almost completely filled up in here. We just ran out. One more load to go. But we also have the paver truck here, offloading some pavers, 12 pallets from Orco Paving. There. The big equipment loading us out.
There's the truck delivering the pavers. These pavers are called Villa. When you're doing a 3-piece pattern like this one, calculating how many of each particular size paver you need can be a little difficult. So you may want to actually do that yourself rather than relying on anybody where you're actually purchasing them from. You're going to have to do the math yourself to cross-check whatever someone else is telling you, because otherwise you're not going to have the right amount. And that actually happened in this particular job. We had a lot of extras of one particular size, not enough of another size. So what ended up happening is the homeowner ended up getting a free driveway extension with some of the leftover pavers. So it worked out kind of nice. Because the thing about the pavers, purchasing them, they only sell them in pallets. There is no refund or return policy, so you're stuck, with a lot of pavers. So you either do pavers every day and utilize all the extras that you accumulate over multiple jobs. You can almost give it away at that point. So I guess that's the idea. Having a lot of leftovers that you can give away.
Okay guys, we are setting up this area for the pavers right now. We got the string line for our border set up. We use the foundation of the house to make sure that we are perfectly square. 8 1/4, right?
8.5.
8 1/2. We're using 8 1/2
Stucco on the wall.
Yeah, because the stucco is a little beveled out and whatnot. So we're going 8 1/2 off the foundation down there, just to give our border some room. And then what we're gonna do is square on the corner of the house, over there in the corner as well. And we're gonna be using PVC pipe as our grading for the sand. So all we have to do is pretty much just lay down the PVC, throw down the sand, screw the top, and that will give us perfect height for the pavers. And that's the whole idea behind this system. Of course, once we get to the time lapse that Sam's setting up right now, you guys will see the whole idea behind it. And if it doesn't make sense right now, if you have done it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're making it sound easy, Tim.
It is. I mean, for us, we're professionals. Right, boys?
We're studs.
Everyone like starts to stutter. Ugh.
So we're gonna have to put some PVC for this area.
We're gonna set up a string line on the corner of the house so we can get it square. We're just gonna focus on this area right now. Once we get to that area, we'll focus on that side. Not yet.
Okay.
We'll get there. We're just gonna focus on this side area first.
Okay.
So let's set up our square over there. This is what I'm talking about. We're gonna pull a string line off the corner of this foundation, 8 inches off it, 8 1/2 off of this right here. And that's exactly what we did right here. I'm gonna show you so I can be more thorough.
Is that line?
As you can see, that is 8 1/2. The paver border that we're gonna be using are 4x8s. So that gives us a little bit of extra room on each side for the sand infill at the end. Next spot will be right here, 8 1/2 as well. And we're gonna pull a string line down, and that will give us a perfect square for this area to start laying out pavers and give us an idea of where everything will go. So that's what we are gonna start doing. Okay, perfect square is set up. Well, it was a perfect square before the 2x4 got dropped on it. Actually, no. But anyways, this is a perfect square right here. We got this perfectly set up. We got our square setting on some pavers so that we make sure this is 100% ready to start laying pavers. What we're gonna start doing is exactly what Sam's doing, screeding all of this sand to perfection. We're gonna be using the PVC pipe as the rails. Let's just start bringing in some sand.
So these lines right now that are going up is going to represent the soldier course band along the house, and also off the other edge of the house going in the other direction. And then they can start the field work. The field's going to go in first on a lot of this, and then you'll cut in the herringbone pattern to allow for your soldier courses to go in later. So those are your 3 different size pavers that are going in here. So there's percentages based on whatever pattern you do. There's a certain percentage of square feet one stone is going to cover with that pattern. You need to know those percentages to calculate your pavers out correctly. If you don't know those, you're never going to get the right amount. A simple way probably to do that, to know those percentages, if you were creating the percentages, if it was say it was an unknown, no one had figured it out yet what the percentages are of each individual size stone per square foot, you could lay a 10 by 10 or a 5 by 5 in this pattern, measure it, figure, and then count how many pieces are in there. Then you're going to know your percentages without having to Google it. You could actually create that on your own, but it's all out there on Google. If you need the answers to the percentages of how many size pavers you need for a specific pattern, it's all there on Google. There's the Orco reference book to refer to on your pattern layout. You know, I get a lot of the questions about from a lot of different people. They ask, well, what's better, pavers or concrete? And what I've decided is that, you know, when they start building bridges out of pavers, then concrete's still better. That's poured in place. You know, pavers is concrete also. It's just small pieces.
Now we're gonna start doing the grade for the other side, and I just kind of wanted to show you guys really quick on how we set that up. All right, so that's what Sam's doing now. He's grading with a level that's 2 1/4, and he's using the top of the screed of the pipe because check it out, it's perfect. It's actually nice to be a little above our stream line. The stream line is to height. As you can see, it's a little bit high, but that's okay. We actually like it like that because we can always pound the pavers down. It's way harder to add sand, so it's good when it's a little bit above. But overall, how we like to get our screed pins set over here, or not screed pins, but PVC pipes to screed off of, is I set one up perfectly with this level, because this level is 2 1/4 as well. And I set it on top of the pipe, make sure I'm like a little bit above or touching right on, and I'll know I got perfect height to just start screeding down, because I'm setting them right on the base before we put any sand in here. And we're just gonna screed it down.
The slope on these pavers break in 2 directions off the corner of the house. The whole front of the house is draining towards the street. From the corner of the house back, drains backwards to an area drain that was put in part 2 of this 5-part series. Now here's the steel pipes, but this is definitely like a DIY project if you got the time. You know, when you're just kind of learning. I mean, it can be done, it's just going to take you, you know, a lot longer to do it. So now the cutting to allow for that soldier chorus goes in. Now on this particular side, because it's wedged in between the house and the outside edge is going to be concreted. We're going to concrete the outside edge in that particular band, so that'll hold everything snug, so you don't really have to use concrete on this end. On the outside where it's not pinned in, that'll be concreted in. In other words, the pavers just get wet set on a little footer. This outside edge here. That's the concrete going to get mixed up there, and then put a little of that in there and then stick the pavers on top of it, and then it bonds to each other. That basically prevents the pavers from shifting and separating apart. In between all these joints of these pavers, it's going to be a polymeric sand, and what that does, you sweep it around, work it into all the cracks and crevices, then wash it in, and it actually hardens up in all the seams. It just keeps your pavers a little bit more stable. You know, today I was actually pouring a garage floor, and it just reminded me of how hard it was to. I had a toolbox I rolled out of the garage. The driveway was pavers. I rolled the toolbox out of the garage. When it hit the pavers, it became really difficult to roll that heavy tool chest, and it's just because of all the cracks and crevices, you know. So now the time where you lay the sand out. This is your polymeric sand. Put a big layer on there. That way you can run your plate compactor over it without damaging the pavers. Another thing you can do, if you don't have enough sand to do that with to get a good layer over the top, they have rubber mats you can put on the bottom of your plate compactor. And in some cases, especially if you don't have enough sand down, and you're compacting the paver, some of them could crack on you, so you're gonna have to dig it back out and put a fresh paver in those spots. Especially when you get to the paver patterns where you have a thin, narrow piece rather than squares or bigger chunks. You get any of these small, narrow pieces, they have a tendency to crack on you when you're trying to pack them in. So he blew a little bit of the excess material off, and now he's washing it down in there to set that polymeric sand in those joints. Here's the extra with the excess pavers. We ended up widening the driveway right here. And that red brick that you see there, the raised planter area, that was existing, so we just had to go up against that. That's actually the other owners. So we couldn't do anything with that, even though these pavers don't match that red brick. That's a separate property. You can put a sealer on here as well. You can put a penetrating sealer on here to help preserve the color and the surface finish of this. Anyway, thank you for watching my videos. If you like these type of videos, make sure you share, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified on the final part of this particular series. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.